as head of the Fed. I mean, does what's happening in Iran change the calculations for a potential rate hike this year?
So, the odds were you were almost on a 100% rate hike a couple of Fridays ago when we got a great jobs number, right? That number is down less than 50% at the moment. I still think there's a chance for a rate cut because if you follow things like Truflation, right, and you look at real-time data, we're trending below 2% year over year. And by the time you get to the fall, we're going to start seeing that CPI, the PPI, I think, collapse because you're probably going to have a 3-month lag time for oil, maybe potentially a little bit longer because all these stockpiles that have been depleted will need to get refilled. So you're going to have artificial excess demand. I'm willing to kind of bet a large sum of money. There's a 0% chance of a rate hike this year. Will, are you with me there?
Well, so what I like to tell people is you have to listen to what's coming out of Washington, D.C. So
there's a guy I've been following, Freddie, LA7, and it's just been unbelievable, his journey throughout the South. And it's, over and over again, it's the European mind cannot comprehend. And, J.J. Watt put him up in an unbelievable hotel in Houston. He's going to an Ella Langley concert in a couple weeks. But again, Bucky's going there.
You have to go to Auburn and see our Eagle flags.
Yes. So it started with when he went to Auburn to watch Messi play, and they let the bald eagle fly throughout the stadium. This has just been an unbelievable weekend for America with the USA winning on Friday, all the stuff going on at the White House, the peace deal with Iran. Like, we are on the up.
We are, and we're dominating as Trump heads to the G7 list. Like the Republican side of things. I mean, are you liking J.D. Vance? Should he say yes? Marco Rubio?
Well, look, so you need a connection to the working class to be able to win the presidential election as it is. And this next election is so important because you redo the census in 2030. Okay, and the census in 2020 was done horribly incorrect and really missed a lot of the population migration from blue states to red states. So by 2032, a Republican will not need to carry any Rust Belt states to become the president because of the population shifts in our country. So, but given that, you will need to win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan. Okay, J.D. Vance is the only one with working class credentials, right? And so there are lots of powers that be in the Republican Party that want to go back to the way things of pre-Trump, and Marco Rubio is their favorite candidate. I have news for you. Working class people aren't going to vote for Marco Rubio the way they will vote for J.D. Vance. So if you look at the polling in the Thomas Massie election, okay, who is the most popular person in his district? It is J.D. Vance. Like, that is a working class district. And if you cannot get these people out to vote, you end up with President Kamala Harris, you end up with President Gavin Newsom, just an absolute unmitigated disaster.
You're so different.
So it's, look, it is just an unbelievable time in history, in markets, and to be able to raise this type of money, okay, in an IPO for a company with this valuation just speaks so much about how healthy our economy is, how healthy our capital markets are. Okay, we can argue till the sun comes down about the valuation of SpaceX. It's high, right? That's not really an argument. It's what do you see in the future for it. Yeah. But what DJ David Saul was saying about the infrastructure build out for artificial intelligence, it's going to be bigger than the railroads. Like you were supposed to get to $1 trillion in chip purchases by 2030. Okay, we're annualizing at $1.3 trillion right now. Okay, expectations are for $1 trillion in spend in AI infrastructure build out in the U.S. next year, and that to get to $3 trillion annualized by 2030. So if you can play anywhere along this AI infrastructure build out, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity, and you've seen that in some of my favorite names I've talked about: AMD, Marvell. The laggard really here is NVIDIA, which is shocking. They're trading at about 14 times forward earnings if they beat over the next year as much as they've beaten, the same percentage-wise over the last couple of years. That, to me, is borderline insanity. They are a cash machine. They're unbelievably cheap. But we are much closer to the beginning beginning than we are to the end. All right, and the Mag 7 stock prices have greatly lagged their earnings growth over the last 18 months. Hopefully, at some point, that will change.
Will McGuff called them the lag 7. Tom, I want to get you in again. Take a look at you.
Well, you know, hopefully some of those dissenters have new jobs. With the Supreme Court coming down the pipeline. But look, I am 100% with Tom here. I think over the course of the next few months, you're going to see those odds change in the Fed watch to the chances of rate cuts. Okay, and once that rate cut conversation comes in, look out for stock prices because we are going significantly higher.
I mean, do you think the cut, guys, would happen before the midterms in November?
Well, he's not Jerome Powell.
Unknown. Let's see what happens to inflation expectations.
Cool. I know. I'm like, why didn't I know that?
So big winner. Not a lot of people are talking about Villanova University.
Yes.
Okay.
Martha McCallum was telling me
so
that.
Jalen
daughter
Brunson,
and husband.
Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and the Pope.
And he wasn't playing.
I know the Pope wasn't playing, but he was holding up a jersey. But all three of those guys won the 2016 NCAA championship, which is a huge accomplishment for a small Catholic school.
Yeah.
NBA champions now, and the Pope. You know,
you are more than just useless information, as you were saying in the break. That was great.
Yeah.
Lauren, what I noticed, the Knicks did something.
I want to say just a direct counterpoint to Barack Obama. The Iranians are super smart and they are super crafty. This is an ancient civilization. These sanctions that they put on them did far less than the Western media is saying. Okay, they have all sorts of ways of getting around them. It's only the use of direct force and the consequence of direct force. And for them to like people talk about how this is like not a successful war. Why don't you ask the Ayatollah about that? Yeah. Oh, that's right. You can't.
Clearly.
So like without the direct use of force, there is no deal.
We are just getting started this morning. I can hear the music wrapping us here. President Trump vowing to oppose any legislation. Definite. Tom Hayes.
Yes, I think there's a good chance if the trend continues and oil collapses that inflation drops dramatically and you start seeing realistic data that we don't need to be 100 or 200 basis points tight above inflation to get that. But my main question is this AI trade has just been spectacular this year. It seems to not be stopping anytime soon. What is your favorite AI trade at the moment?
He's been dying to get that question in, just so you know.
Well, you know, in all fairness, I got to tell you, it depends on the day. It depends on the weekend. I mean, it's absolutely incredible.
You know, nobody swims back to Cuba. Right, like they could tell us like how great the healthcare is and like how wonderful these leaders stuck it to the man. Like it's a joke. Like it's all a leftist fallacy. But you got to remember when the left argues, the issue is never the issue. The issue is the revolution. So they will say they will be on every side of every issue simply to acquire power. So look no further than this guy Graham Planter in Maine.
Yeah.
In Maine, you know, literal Nazi tattoos, beat women up, like whatever, doesn't matter. You know, he's fighting against the trillionaires.
And now they're taking their socialist policies to the next revolution, which is here, artificial intelligence. And